This happened in 2015. It was around the end of June. My friend Riley and I were just bored in the evening. Her parents left her at my place before going to a funeral. We played the gallerist for some time, but it wasn't that interesting since she didn't know how to play it. So we decided to take a walk outside. There was a mall just a few blocks away from home. Riley said we should check out the new restaurant near it too. She was always into this kind of stuff. I tagged along thinking I didn't have anything better to do. We started in a few of the smaller shops. Riley tried on a couple of rings, checking the way the light hit the fake stones. I was looking at some necklaces, trying to find something simple for my little sister Tara. We ended up in a little shop tucked away in a corner of the mall. We bought a thin silver chain for Riley and a little bracelet for Tara with small colored beads. We were about to leave and thinking about eating at the restaurant she mentioned, but Riley stumbled upon some random guy while counting her money. She was startled and scattered everything across the floor. It was embarrassing. The guy was a little older than us. Riley awkwardly apologized to the guy and started picking up the money. The guy said it was no big deal and he was a little careless too. We gave a smile to the guy and started to walk away from him. But then the guy started suggesting some random items we could try. I told him politely that we were done shopping and we didn't need anything else, but the guy kept pushing it, asking us to try a necklace he saw at a store. It was weird. At first I thought maybe the guy was an employee or something, but he wasn't wearing any name tag or any type of uniform. Riley tried to get away saying we were just leaving and she could try it next time she visits. But as we were walking, the guy started following us. We knew something was off. We needed to get rid of him. The guy then shouted at us to stop and told us to come to the shop near him. We ignored him, pretending we didn't hear him, but things got stranger. He kept following us throughout the entire mall. Riley and I exchanged nervous glances. We started walking faster, our pace turning into a near jog. We didn't look back, just kept our eyes forward, trying to appear calm, but my heart was pounding inside. We spotted a service exit leading to the parking lot. I whispered to Riley to duck through the door. We ran down a dimly lit hallway, our footsteps echoing against the concrete walls. We were lost, but we kept walking. We finally burst into the parking lot. Then we looked back to see if the guy was still following us, but he wasn't there. An overwhelming sense of relief washed over us. Riley pleaded with me not to talk about this, saying her parents wouldn't let her leave the house if they heard about it. We started walking towards the streets, trying to get home as quickly as we could. But while we were walking towards the sidewalk, we saw him again standing in front of us. He was walking towards us, his eyes fixed while approaching us. I panicked. Without thinking, I grabbed Riley's arm and pulled her closer. We started walking faster, trying to make some distance from that creep. Riley started yelling at me, saying he was gaining on us. We were trapped. There was nowhere to go. We looked around frantically. We held each other and started running as fast as we could. Then he started running too. My home wasn't that far away from the place, but we knew we couldn't get there in time. We were in real trouble. But just then my eyes widened with hope. A cop was taking a coffee break outside of his car. We sprinted toward the cop. We shouted at the cop to get his attention. He was startled. We were gasping for air while the officer was looking surprised. After catching our breath, we explained to him about everything. The officer was shocked. He told us to stay close to him and looked around to see if the guy was still there. But no, he was gone, almost as if he had disappeared. The officer then asked a bunch of questions about how the guy looked and took some notes while we explained. We told him everything about how the guy approached us and how he followed us since we left the mall. The officer said it wasn't safe to walk our way home and told us to get in his car. We went inside without any hesitation. When my mom saw us stepping out of a police car, she was worried sick. We told her everything, figuring we didn't have any choice. We spent the rest of the night thinking about the whole situation. It was a terrifying experience. It still makes me uneasy whenever I think about it. It was almost 3 a.m. I was on the road, somewhere between Denver and Nashville. I was exhausted and wanted to take a break before I started hallucinating. The highway stretched out like an endless black ribbon, seeming as if it would never end, and my eyes were burning like hell too. All I wanted was to get out of the car and get some coffee, but luck wasn't on my side. But then after some time I saw a flickering neon sign near a gas station. The sign said Mary's Diner, with the D flickering like it was about to go out. Usually I was never the kind of person to stop at roadside diners at those hours, but desperation makes you do things you wouldn't normally consider. I really needed a break, and my tank was half empty too. So I pulled off the road and headed toward the parking lot with a sharp turn. The parking lot was completely empty as expected. The only thing visible was the faded blue of the disabled sign on the other side of the area. The diner looked old with all the chrome and the faded turquoise paint. I pushed the doors open and went inside the glass door. A bell then jingled above my head. The inside was dimly lit with the smell of stale coffee and greasy food. The silence was unsettling, broken only by the low hum of the refrigerator and the occasional clinking of dishes from the kitchen. After a few minutes, an old woman with a tired face approached me. She had a faded name tag that said Mabel on her chest pocket. I asked for the strongest coffee they had and a slice of apple pie. I was hoping the sugar rush would help me stay awake. She nodded and asked me if I needed anything else before going inside the kitchen. I told her that would be it and sat on the booth waiting for my order. As I was waiting for my order, I saw a pair of dim headlights approaching slowly through the window. I saw an old Hilux with a slightly dented fender and a rusted-out bicycle strapped to its back. The truck then parked on the lot and a man came out of it. The man pushed open the heavy glass door and stepped inside the diner. As he stepped inside the diner, he glanced at me and sat on the booth in front of me, and then everything went dead silent as it was before. A few minutes passed and the coffee arrived, along with the pie. But it wasn't as good as I was expecting. The coffee was lukewarm, with a bitter taste, and the apple pie had a metallic aftertaste along with being overly sweet. I took a few bites of the apple pie, but the taste was too irritating to eat. I drank the coffee even though it was bitter. I had to get rid of the sleepiness. But then I noticed the man casting subtle glances from the table. He was watching me across the booth. I couldn't make out why he was doing that, but he was making it creepy. I didn't react to anything. I just paid the bill and left the place. But just then he asked me, "Leaving soon?" That was weird. I didn't answer him. I was trying to get to my car as fast as I could. But then he shouted, "I am not done with you." His tone was a little demanding now. I thought he was crazy. I started walking faster now. I pushed the door and stumbled out. I could hear the man approaching from behind me fast. I didn't stop. I could hear the shoes scraping against the floor as the guy was walking. I fumbled with my car keys, my hands shaking so badly I could barely get the key in the lock. I started the engine, threw the car into gear and sped out of the parking lot. When I glanced in the rearview mirror, I saw his shadowed figure against the dim light of the diner. I then shifted my sights towards the road and left the parking lot with a sigh. As I was driving, I thought to myself, where did the woman from the diner go when all this happened? Was she really planning to trap me with him, or was I just imagining things? I didn't think much of it. I just kept driving without looking back. I didn't stop until I reached the town. I pulled over to the gas station. I sat there for a while after filling the tank. Even 10 years later, this story still haunts me when I think about how I came out of there without any harm.